everybody. Welcome back to Sprueverse, my scale model universe. And today we are embarking on a 5-year mission to seek out a build of the TOS Enterprise from the original television series, the Polar Lights 1/350 scale. And here it is. This is the 50th anniversary package. And this package includes an updated paint guide and a smooth saucer. And the interesting thing about the smooth saucer, obviously, is the fact that the original pop of this did not have a smooth saucer. It actually had grid lines in it, which sent a lot of people up in arms, and they were frantically removing them from the saucer itself. So, you know, years later, they offered up a smooth saucer, and that took off. And so there's been various repops of this kit. But why now? Because there are hundreds of versions of this out there in the marketplace, on YouTube, of people who have built this kit. So it's sort of like, why now, why me? Well, I'll tell you. Sprueverse is an interesting kind of amalgam of my passion for modeling. And also, I like to consider myself a little bit of a test kitchen. And one of the things that struck me when I was watching all of these videos is there are now literally hundreds of tips and suggestions and different ways to wire this if you want to light it. If you don't want to light it, some of the issues and problems that have come up. And so I thought to myself, what a great opportunity to jump in and do something knowing that the community has a plethora of builds out there that we can all look at and work from, and hopefully not make those mistakes or be encouraged to take advantage of some of this incredible help. And I honestly, and I say this all the time, and I mean it sincerely, I come to the bench every day wanting to learn something. And the reason why I say I want to learn something is because for me, the enjoyment of this is not only the incredible camaraderie I get with all of you, but it's also the fact that I know I can just make the hobby itself more enjoyable for me as I learn how to improve on my skills. Anyway. So here we are, and that's why we're building this kit. And I'm giving myself about 8 weeks to do this, and we'll see how we do. Because there's a lot of things, you know, we already know, and there's certain things we definitely want to do. There's a lot to cover in this particular episode, so I want to dive in. I don't want to take too much time on just sort of, you know, jabbering, because I can be good at that. But so I showed you the box art, and obviously behind me I've got the saucer, and they are absolutely correct when they say it is smooth. Yes, it is smooth. There it is. It's sort of like a magic act. It is absolutely smooth, and so I say thank you for that. And, you know, we're obviously going to be priming it and doing a whole bunch of things to it. There are pre-drilled holes that are incredibly crisp. The windows are relatively crisp. And this is obviously the bottom. And this is obviously the top. And it's all pegged. So there's only one way this can go. You can't go wrong with that. So that's cool. And I've test fitted these two pieces already, and they actually sit quite flush. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at reference material from the Smithsonian model to guide myself in terms of how this should actually look. And that's sort of how we're going to proceed. And of course, I have given everything a warm bath in some dishwashing detergent and warm water. and let everything dry absolutely thoroughly before we go in and we actually start to prime this. Now, before we move on, a quick observation here, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this in the light. I'm going to try and show it to you because I think it's actually kind of interesting. Can you see? I don't know if you can, but I can actually see the original grid lines in this thing. It's extraordinary. So I guess what they did was they took the mold and filled in those sections so that we wouldn't get that grid line, and off they went to the races. But anyway, nice and crisp, nice and clean. I have not done a final sand on it. I have removed, obviously, all of the flash that comes with it, so that's ready to go. I'm going to set that aside for a second. And true also too with the bridge section and the top of the Enterprise. A couple of things I'm noticing. One of those constant frustrations that we all get is when the trees are the way they build these things. Sometimes the tree ends up connecting to a piece of the finished surface, and so getting that clean can be a bit of a pain. But I have found that getting this kind of plastic very smooth is relatively easy to do, and it polishes up quite well. So if you go through the process of actually using sanding sticks, now I like these because you follow the steps, and it literally removes all of the scratches. So that's what I'm doing, and everything is clean on that. As is the body of my ship. Now I've taken off all of the sprue flash, and I have done a test fit of this. And I wanted to sort of quickly go over this because I do think it's worth it. As I join these two pieces together, now they connect quite nicely. They're not so tight that you can't get them together, but if you're careful, what I've noticed here is that when I apply pressure and I put this seam together, I get quite a nice clean line. Now, curiously, if you rub your thumbnail over it, you can feel if you've got a bit of a step. So try before, what I'm going to do is before I glue these pieces together is try to make sure that I don't have that step. And then that will help tremendously in terms of removing that seam. But it goes together quite nicely. Now I know one of the key struggles we will all have is this thing of beauty, which is obviously the shuttle bay, which is supposed to sit in the rear of the Enterprise. And I built this up for a very specific reason, and that was because I wanted to show you the first thing I'm doing, which is I'm replacing this part. Let me get this on close up. This part, which comes with the which comes with the kit, and I'm replacing it with this part, which is a 3D printed, highly detailed resin piece, ultra fine, ultra detailed, and I've already put my Paragraphics photo etch on it, and it went on like a dream. And it's really beautiful. It's nice and crisp. It's nice and clean. I'm going to get plenty of light in here. And the other thing that is wonderful is it is a lot thinner. It's a lot skinnier than the actual part. There, I'll put this to camera there. It's a lot skinnier, and so it sits in there a lot nicer than the part that comes with the kit. Now, you can certainly get a clear version of this if you decide to go with the supplemental lighting kit. Here it is. Not cheap. This retails for about $185 if you can find it. It's quite something. And curiously, they call it the improved and updated version. And I don't know about I don't know about that. You know, they say there's 90 LEDs. They say there's revised instructions. There's now an on and off switch. There's colored and clear parts, which they already had. The engine fan motors, which they already had. And there's no soldering required. Now, just take it from me. If that's the way you want to build it, and you do have this kit, I say go with God. You're perfectly welcome to do that. However, I can tell you that over time, those connectors will get loose, and you will lose a light. I don't mean that to sound negative. That's just my experience with it. So if I were you, and you're going to take the trouble to light this kit, some basic soldering techniques will help you remove those clips and actually solder your LED strip light to the wires. You'll get a permanent connection, and you'll be a much happier camper for it. Making sure always, obviously, when you're doing any kind of wiring, that you're not crossing polarity, and you're not having wires, bare wire, touch each other, which is a sure invitation to short something out. Now, why do I have this kit? Well, you know, again, because Spruverse is a bit of a test kitchen, I wanted to have it so that you could see it. So I want to go through that. And there's no time like the present, so we might as well go through it. I'm going to pull it here from the box behind me. Here it is in all of its glory. Now, I'm not going to do half an hour on this, but I am going to do quite a bit. I mean, this video is going to be, as I said, it's going to be quite extensive, and I apologize for that, but I think it's really worth it. Because if you're like me and you have this in your stash, then I would say most likely you're either going to get encouraged by these videos to actually pull yours out and build along, or you're going to go, I don't know, I'll think about it for another few years. Either way, perfectly acceptable and understandable. So here it is. And you know, you look through it, and you've got two PCB boards. You've got one that will go in the saucer, and you've got one PCB board that will go in the hull. Bless their hearts, they're still, they're still sticking with the plot of these motors and this sort of spinning effect with the clear dome that fits over the inside of the Bassard, and it all sort of spins together, and they're still going with that. And it's still noisy. It is still one of those things where you're going to run into trouble, I think, if you go with it. So I'm not going to be using that setup, I don't think. I'm going to be using a different setup, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But I am going to use some of the lighting that comes with this. And the other thing that I think is terribly helpful is this actually does help you know where all your lights are supposed to go. So, you get to see where all of your port and starboard lights go, your sensor lights, your pylon lights. So it is really, it's an excellent way to actually sort of learn where everything goes. So I really like it for that, and I think it has real value. No matter how expensive this kit is. And now it also comes with some clear parts as well. And curiously, and I've taken this out of the bag, one of the things you'll see here is in this sprue is you get the fantail and you get the control room and its light that is above the above the bay door. They come in clear plastic. Now, when you get the model itself, you're going to get these parts in solid green plastic or green gray, which, by the way, they tell you in the new paint guide, and I'll share that with you in just a minute. They tell you that that is an accurate representation of what the actual filming model was painted like. You know, so they want you to try to match this color. And it definitely is a gray-green, and we'll definitely be looking at that. But I want to try and do a good color match because, you know, as you know, there's a constant discussion about what the color of this ship looks like. But I say, if you want it to be as canon as possible, you got to go with the Smithsonian 11-foot and how it's painted. They went to meticulous detail to actually figure out what the color was, and that's what it's painted. So for me personally, whether you agree or you don't agree, that's how I'm going to try to match my color. I'm going to try and match it to the Smithsonian miniature. But anyway, I digress. So what I've done already is I took the trouble of actually taking the part that comes with the model, and you can see here I have chewed out some holes in the plastic, and I have added the photo etch. Now the photo etch, if I haven't mentioned before, is this. It's from Paragraphics, and it's the 1350 TOS supplemental photo etch set. And in typical fashion, I bought 2 of them, and I'm glad I did. Because I'll tell you, you know, I consider myself relatively comfortable with photo etch, but I can be a bit of a putz. And sure enough, I was sitting on the bench yesterday. It was super quiet. There were no interruptions. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And what did I do? I actually bent a piece of the photo etch. And once this is bent, you can be in a world of hurt. Now, you do, you know, they do want you to actually heat this metal. And the process of heating this metal, which we all know about, is designed to actually soften the metal enough so that you can bend it around a surface. And it does work. It works really well. And it allows it to stay bent, and you won't fight with it. So that's a good thing. And it cleans up, and it gives you that really nice sharp edge. Now, having said that, I am absolutely going to build another one of these. And I'm going to use the clear part. Because I've got enough photo etch to do that, I'm going to do both the fantail and the overhead flood, which I think is part of the traffic control center of the ship. I'm going to build 2 of them. I've got the other piece here in the solid green plastic here. There that is. I've done those, and I've chewed it out so that you can get light behind it. So I've done both of them, and I've done a relatively good job. I'm happy with how clean they are, except to be absolutely honest with you, as I look at the first piece that I did, I notice that there's a little bit of a bend in it, I would say. Just a hair bare. It should be fine, but you know, it drives me crazy. So I'm going to build a second set in the clear, and we'll see which one I get a better result with. Now, everything has to be light blocked. So everything has to be primed and painted and then light blocked. And all of that process is going to, it's going to make a difference. But I'm also, want to say that in my experience, clear parts like this, the plastic tends to be a lot more brittle. A lot more brittle. So in other words, if you wanted to, or you had to drill into this for any reason, or clean it up, it tends to crack or snap. Now, one of the other clear parts you get on here is the bridge. Here's the bridge, and that comes in the lighting kit. Kit. Comes in the lighting kit. And what you're going to do is you're going to obviously put your photo etch on this and paint it to the best of your ability. And there is photo etch, believe it or not, for the rails in this, and I'll show you those on here. Here on this. You can see here are the rails. They come with it right there. There they are. And the idea is what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to remove the plastic and replace it with the rails. Now I can tell you from experience, trying to remove those clear rails in the clear plastic is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. I mean, it's bad enough having to do it in the this version of it, which is what comes with the model. But a lot easier to sort of snip these out. So I think if you're going to add the some of the depth with the photo etch, this would be a way to go, except one small problem, which is if you're going to light it, you got to start drilling holes in this thing to get light through it. And that is a problem. So if you go onto a site like Shapeways, which I did, you can get this thing of beauty. Not expensive. I think I paid about $10 for this, maybe $15. And I've added the photo etch to it. And I've added the control surfaces, the screens, the main screen. And it went on relatively easy. Because this is resin, what I love about the resin is it bites to CA instantly. And so I could use my thin solution, and you start with one end and you gingerly sort of just move around and you get that done. And I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to try and hold it to the light. There, I think you can see it. Through the genius of 3D printing, these rails are absolutely perfect. There's nothing to do to them. You just paint them. And on top of it, even the light, I don't know if you can do it. I'm going to try and shine a light through it, so forgive me. I don't want to give anybody retina burn, but you can see here that even the main screens, the screens that surround the top of this bridge, and even the smaller screens just above the control surfaces, they're all there. They're all there. And so what that means is that I can light block this, and when I put lights in it, I mean it's going to light up like a Christmas tree. And what I love about that is even though a lot of this detail gets lost, but when you look down into that clear dome, I think this is going to pop. So I'm very excited about that. And the Paragraphics kit does come with these. It comes with these shadow casters that you put in the back of the shuttle bay, excuse me, and it also comes with a set of decals for the bridge. And so that's one of the things you see here. You've got this, so you can lay these down. or you can just paint them. Either way is fine. And then you've also got the various different screens, and obviously light is supposed to go through these. Now, I think there may be another version of this out there, maybe from Orbital Dry Dock, I don't know, where they are not decals, they are actually printed on actually the Shadowcaster paper, believe it or not. And I think, you know, you might get a slightly different result. But honestly, guys, with the Tamiya clears and a little bit of patience, that bridge will pop. It'll look beautiful. So I'm pretty excited about that. So between the shuttle bay, the bridge itself, I've got most of the super detailing that I wanted. I do have one of these cast in metal, turned in metal. It's quite heavy, so I don't know if it probably is aluminum, but it was beautifully cast, and it's just a thing of beauty, and it really feels girthy and heavy. And I don't recall where I picked that up. I really apologize. But, you know, if you run through eBay and, you know, your various different Google searches, you guys are all very studious and smart. You probably know where this came from. But they're out there and they're still available. And I'm going to be adding that sensor array dish to my model. So that's a brief overview of this lighting kit and the plans that go with it. So I'm going to, just for the purposes of, you know, why not, I'm going to put this back in its box and say goodbye to this for now. And we'll come back to that during the build because as I said, we will be we'll be using it, parts of it. Now, there are the lighting kits available on the market. Oh, before I get to those, I do want to say one other thing. I don't know if this is available anymore, guys. And at one point, they actually put this in some of the models. So they included this. It is, and it's from Polar Lights. Now they re-released it and then it disappeared. Everybody gobbled it up and then it disappeared again. It's the photo etch sheet that Polar Lights put out, and it gives you a logo for the base, which is very cool. We might use that, and it gives you all the grills. And it gives you the rear impulse engine grills as well. Two versions. One is from the pilot episode and one from the television, from the regular series. It gave you these. Now, the reason why that's important is because I think these grills are going to look beautiful, a beautiful detail in the in the pillars that hold up the nacelles. And here they are. And so, you know, they'll stop, they'll just drop in here and they'll drop in here nicely. And that will add a really crisp detail to it. Now, there are other ways to do that. There are guys who use various different screen door, and other kinds of things that could certainly replace those if you can't get them. So there is another way to get that effect, and get that effect quite nicely without having to get this supplemental set. But it is on the market, and you can find it. But anyway, I have it, so I'm going to be using it. All right, so on to a company called Tennacontrols that have a kit. And I even believe my dear friend Randy Newbert has one over at Voodoo Effects. So whether you're a Tennacontrols guy or a Voodoo Effects guy, you know, knock yourself out. Equally as competent, great people with great products. But the reason why I'm going with the Tennacontrols kit is because I was given this as a gift a couple of years ago, and I thought, well, why not? And what I noticed was that he also came out with a 50th anniversary version of this. So I got that as well. I don't know. I wanted to see what the difference was. And, you know, I'll build more than one of these in my lifetime. So it's good to have them in stock for me anyway. But here is what you get with the Tennacontrols version. You get the LED fan blades. Now, what's really crucial about that is they are just 100% silent, obviously. So I'm going to be going with those fan blades, the boards to run them, and then you get navigation, strobe, and impulse engines. And that all comes with it. The other items you get is a momentary switch, and you get a board for controlling the speed of your rotating fans, and obviously everything else. Now, you know, I have to say that his directions are, to me, they're absolutely fantastic. Super detailed, simple to follow, and if you have basic skills in wiring, which you do need to do this, you can follow along, and he makes it very simple for you to follow along. And the nice thing about this is it's compatible with 9 through 12 volts. So I don't have to worry about any issues between this kit and supplementing it, if I choose to, with the Polar Lights lighting kit. So that's good news. And you know, it's really high quality stuff, and I really appreciate how far Ralph has come in Tennacontrols with setting all of this up for you. The way everything is wired, you don't have to actually attach your LEDs to your wire. And because the boards are pre-resisted, you don't have to worry about inline resistors. It's all done for you in the boards. And the boards are, you know, they're super sleek. They are just, they're wafer-thin boards. Let me open this one up carefully for you and show you. For those of you who have never seen one of his boards, super sleek. And so, you know, you can do a far better job hiding these in the kit. And I'll put this on close up for you so you can see. But just, you know, with a really decent amount of wire attached to them. In the old days, you never got that much wire. It was always ribbon wire, and you had to make all those attachments, and now you don't. So that's come an awful long way as well. And so I'm going to be using a combination of the two, I think, and then I should be in pretty good shape. Now, one of the other things I wanted to just talk about briefly is the stand. Now, they give you a stand. Here it is, and I don't know if I'm going to be using this stand. I don't know. Because last year on the channel, I actually showed you a stand that I purchased, just a stunning stand that I think is just super impressive. And I think I'm going to go with that. I'm not going to talk about it in this video. I'm going to be sharing it with you later down the builds. But I think for all the amount of time and effort and trouble I'm going to really make this build sing, I just don't know if I can justify this. Now, having said that, guys, it's a perfectly decent stand, and you certainly could get a good result with it. Now, I do know at Orbital Dry Docks, although I think he's sold out, he has a plug-and-play stand that would allow you to actually remove your ship from the stand. It's a very clever piece of kit for about 35 bucks. So if you're interested in that kind of a direction and you want to build your own stand, that's something worth looking at. Or you can get a piece of brass rod and bolt it to your ship, as we all do. So I don't need to go down that road with you. But I've always felt that for all of the trouble that we go to and the expense of doing all of this, that Polar Lights never bothered to actually reach out to somebody who makes resin casts and build us a really nice, maybe perhaps, the emblem that appears on, the emblem that appears on all of the shirts, the Star Trek emblem. Give us something pre-molded like that. They'd sell like hotcakes. So I just don't know why they never did it. But there you go. We're left with this, and this is the only base they offer in their stands. And there's another. If you go to HDA Model Works, Jerry over there works with a company called Wolf. They make some really good stands, really impressive. And that's another way to go. And you can get all kinds of background transfers and slides and decals and that sort of a thing. Or the other way to do it too is the great Lou Del Meso over at Aztek Dummy has a masking set that you can actually get from cultTVman. And you could actually use some of those on your base too if you wanted to paint something on and work with those. Get yourself a couple of sets. Don't just get one. I know that he would appreciate it. But they're great things to have. Now, there is also one last thing I want to talk about in this video before we sort of sign off, because we'll start getting into the build on the next video, and I'll just be giving you progress reports. It's not a how-to video, but I will give you progress reports of how I'm getting along and what things I'm struggling with, or if I'm struggling with it, or how I chose to approach things and that sort of thing. Are two things I want to discuss before we sign off. One is the paint guide, because I promised I'd show it to you, and here it is. Check this out. This comes in the box. So when you open the box, this is folded sort of like that on top of the box, and there it is. And you can see from the paint chips all the way along the top, you get a really nice set of paint chips for your guide. Now, what's interesting about that is the first one on the left side here, and let me see if I can get you closer to this. I think I can. Here, there we go. The first one you see, it says Enterprise Gray, and it's the color of the plastic. And sure enough, if you hold your plastic up to it, that's exactly what it is. It's Enterprise Gray. So what they're saying to you on the guide is, that's your color. Now, to my eye, that is definitely gray with a little bit of green in it. So I would say if we're anywhere close to this, you are definitely in the ballpark. Again, exterior accents, plastic color. It says this is the plastic color. Now, I've been through all the parts, and I can tell you that I don't see any other parts in the builds that are that dark. But hey ho. Then there's a neck accent color, which is this blue, almost like a duck egg blue. You've got the intercooler accent color, which is sort of an insignia white. You've got the turbo lift, which they're calling turbo lift green. You've got pilot gray. So if you want to, I would assume, build this as the pilot episode, version of the ship, it would be more of that gray. And then it's saying you've got medium gray, you've got pewter metallic, which is obviously for the sensor array, and you've got silver metallic, new penny copper, which is a plastic color, and that was obviously the sensor array dish. I'm using this copper part, so I won't have to worry about that. And then you've obviously got your clear red, clear green for your navigation lights, and then you've got for the hangar bay, you've got these colors, and I think these are really important to have. So you've got this sort of bluey gray, and then you've got almost like a wheat brown, a soft brown color, and those are the two interior colors, and we'll try to match those as best we can. And then optional white, I don't know what that is, and rust ring transparent. And what that rust ring transparent is for the bottom of the dish there is a ring, and that ring you can actually put that gold paint in. I'll show you. It's actually here. And you can see that ring, and they actually want you to put that gold color in that ring. And then, of course, if you want to put some weathering across it, just very lightly, I probably will do that, just to create a little drama, really. And then the only other thing I want to talk about before we close is to mask or not to mask the windows. Now, when you go through all these builds, and that's one of the reasons why I'm sort of excited about building this, is because there are a couple of methodologies that people use. One of them is you paint all your parts. You prime them, you finish them, and you seal them in. Then you can put your windows in. And so when you glue everything together, all you have to worry about are your seam lines. That's one methodology. The other methodology is to not paint anything until it's all put together and primed and puttied and finished, and then you paint. But then what do you do about these windows? Now, there's two ways to deal with that. One is you can actually use either microcrystal clear, the good old famous microcrystal clear, or there's another version of that called canopy glue from Zap, and you can use that as well. And what you do is you get yourself a little syringe, and you put a little, you put a little bit of that in the syringe, and it absolutely works. You can actually, once this is in, you could actually pop that syringe into these windows and fill up these windows, and you'll get perfectly clear windows, and you don't have to worry about anything happening. Because any paint that you've obviously painted has gone right through, and you don't get it on those clear glass window parts because you don't use them. However, I know that Lou Del Meso over at Aztek Dummy and Orbital Dry Dock have a window masking set. And I am going to try and order a set of those, either from cultTVman or from Orbital Dry Dock, depending on who's got it in stock, because I'm working now. I don't want to wait 3 months if they're out of stock. But what I want to do is think about this, because it may well be that putting the glass in and then just covering all these windows with masks might be a better way to go. It might be an easier way to go. So the thing about it is you've got all these options, and that to me is just amazing that you've got all of those options. And that's another reason why I'm building it now. because it's just a plethora of options. And so it's a lot of fun for me to share all of this with you and build this along with you. And I'm really excited to have this kit finally in my permanent collection here in California. And that to me is really exciting, because you gotta have this ship on display in your collection. If you're a fantasy guy, a Star Trek guy, you got it. You just got it. And so it was high time that I broke this kit out and just dove in. Because I have to tell you, it does give me a little bit of pause, because it requires you to be really, really pay attention. Get those seams right, and use the right techniques so that those seams disappear. Make sure that you don't cause yourself any grief. Get the wiring in correctly and neatly, and get it all together. And because once it starts to build and grow, I mean, it's a behemoth. It's not a little kit like the Bandai 1/12 scale Scout Trooper that I just built that you can sit here and play with, which is a lot of fun. Now, this is starting to get into those large scales, and it requires having some space and really thinking through what you're doing, because if you do, it's just a lot more pleasurable to build it. So there you go. That is this is the intro episode to building the 50th anniversary version, although I don't know what that means other than it is the Polar Lights 1/350 scale TOS Enterprise right here on Spruverse. Thank you for coming along on this journey with me. I always greatly appreciate all of you and all of your comments. And I also, if you're just joining, please like and subscribe, and click that bell if you want to be notified of future episodes. There's a lot going on the channel, and I'm always grateful to have you along with me. But as always, everybody, I wish you to all be well, be safe, build something, and we'll see you on part 2 of this build. Take care, everybody. Be well.